Hello, everyone. Wastelanders, adventurers, other types of gamers. There's plenty of descriptors for you. I'm Caedo Genesis. This is my co-host Bad Company Sarge.
Hello there.
And this is the PIPCAST 3000, where we talk about gaming news, gaming stuff, and usually have a dedicated Fallout or Bethesda-centric topic. As I said, it's a bi-weekly podcast every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Sarge, how are you today? I know we had like a pre-record, pre-session thing. How are you doing?
We've only been on call for about an hour. I'm here. That's how I'm doing. What about you, Caedo?
I'm here also.
Wow, we're both here. Great.
And I'm generally feeling pretty good. Still blocking social media. It's helping my mental state.
That's nice.
There's a couple other things towards the what we've been doing / playing section that I'll get into that is out of the norm, but also nice. And also, for those of you who are excited for the topic, whatever the title of the episode is going to be, we're going to talk about the chain that binds and the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout, because it's apparently been used as an argument against Arthur Maxson in Fallout 4, which we're gonna try to break down as to why everybody's wrong.
Okay. I feel like after you've said that, I should say this is Caedo's topic. I'm along for the ride. Caedo's views do not necessarily represent those of mine or my organization.
So the moment I sound like you, you just back out entirely. I get it. I understand.
You need to start doing that more often. Protect yourself, man. Don't be an idiot. Protect yourself.
Yeah, so we'll go into details about we'll bring up New Vegas, because New Vegas is like the origin of the chain that binds stuff. And yeah, kind of go over that, what it represents, what it's based on. So it might be a fun topic if you like talking about the Brotherhood. If you hate the Brotherhood, then I don't know, some of the news might be fun.
Maybe.
Because we get to that first. But before all of that stuff, we have a tip of the day and a comment of the cast. Tip of the day, it's pretty straightforward. Mods. Don't use them, or do. We're just advisors.
What an amazing tip. I'm sure that will help many people.
Could extend your gameplay, could ruin the game. It's up to your interpretation.
I mean, I know lots of people who love mods to a disturbing degree. And then there's me, who's like, no thank you, I just want to play.
Yep.
And we all have fun in our own ways.
There's different sides of that spectrum too. There's the Windows shopping, can't stop installing mods, and then plays the game for like 10% of that time spent. And then there's the ones that are, you know, on the lighter side, or just a sprinkling, just a smattering of a couple of mods that make it a bit more modern or easier to play. That's the camp I'm kind of in.
Yeah. And then there's all of the people who comments on videos being like, hey, why aren't you just doing this thing? And it turns out it's from a mod.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites.
Sarge, why didn't you eat the baby?
Yeah, why didn't you just eat the baby? Everyone knows you eat the baby. Yes,
only real Fallout fans understand that. I'm sorry. I got super gatekeepy at the intro. I'm sorry. It's not me, I swear. I'm not gatekeeping anyone. I think more people should play Fallout. Anyway, comment of the cast, Sarge.
Yes, the comment of the cast comes from White Rabbit, who says, are there any other weapon mods with a legendary effect, like Lorenzo's Artifact and Krem's Tooth? I'm unable to filter out my search results. The wiki does not seem to have them separately listed, and YouTube etc. will only spam with mods instead of weapon modifications. So last time we ranked guaranteed uniques / legendary weapons in Fallout 4, that was a tier list made by someone else. That was a pretty solid list overall.
Yes.
And yeah, as mentioned by White Rabbit, a couple of the things we had on there had like weapon mods as their legendary effect, which is kind of cool. So if you know of any additional ones, feel free to let White Rabbit know. But also on that second part about when in Fallout 4 you're searching for like mods for your weapons, as in like I want to mod the weapon within the game, but I'm not looking for a mod. I want a weapon modification, not something that modifies the game. obviously an absolute nightmare trying to filter them.
Yep.
Because it's the same term for something different,
Yeah.
but similar enough that you can't describe them in a particularly different way.
If it were any other game, it probably wouldn't be this difficult.
No.
If it were by any other developer, but because it's a Bethesda Studios game, it's incredibly moddable.
Yeah,
so
mod friendly.
Along with the tip of the day, there's thousands upon thousands of mods in all of their games for all their games. So even paid mods, I'm on a roll today. Yeah. So you replied with the Striker, like that was the only other one that came to mind, and I'm pretty sure that's it. Like,
oh, okay. Just
Lorenzo's Artifact, Krem's Tooth, and the Striker. I think that is all there is. Yeah. I wish there was more like that, because that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's a cool kind of concept.
When I played Biomutant, there were some things like that. Like the free modding system in Biomutant was the best aspect of that game.
Right.
Yeah. But you could find like a unique weapon, but the unique part was really like the blade or the handle or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could mash them all together, because unlike Fallout 4, there was not really any guidelines. Like if it was a melee weapon, everything could be applied. Like everything you picked up mod-wise, you just attach, a long spear shaft handle, and have like a little tiny blade at the end of it, or a really long blade at the end of it. Make it ridiculous.
It sounds like you've literally just made a spear with your spear handle and blade on the end.
You could make a spear, or you could make a mace thing, a mace bat, a long handled bat or something. I don't know. It was versatile, is what I'm trying to say.
Cool.
I think that's all there was in Fallout 4. Hope that there's more of that kind of thing, along with true uniques, which we complain about too.
Yes.
Whenever the topic happens.
Any chance I get.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on. Oh, good. There's a train in the background now too, just as we started recording. Awesome. Let's start with the news. For anybody who hasn't been here, I'm pretty sure it's mostly regulars at this point. Anybody who hasn't been here, though, we have things chapter pointed and time stamped in the video. So if there's something you want to skip, or you could just go straight to the topic, like that's cool if you want to do that. But we like you sticking around to offer your feedback and stuff like that. Become a comment of the cast, like White Rabbit did. Too many spiels. Skyrim Together Reborn is one such mod project. We've been talking about mods a lot. And is the multiplayer experience, quote, to Skyrim and Fallout 4 we've all dreamed of. The Together team. On their official site, it says, for years, Bethesda fans around the world have yearned for a multiplayer experience in their favorite games. Many felt as though ESO and Fallout 76 didn't fit the bill, providing more of an MMO experience than a co-op one, and thus the Together team was formed. After a long development process for over 5 years, a complete rewrite of the codebase, and countless hours spent overcoming various obstacles, the Together team has finally released their passion project in the form of Skyrim Together Reborn. Now that it is open source, future development of Reborn is heavily reliant on the community to contribute. Therefore, there are no promised release dates or estimates on mod progress or features. However, you can monitor the status of the project by checking the news tab or our social media. So, what I gathered is that it's downloadable.
It released on July 8th.
Yeah.
They annoyingly, and I'm gonna have to start with a complaint.
Okay.
They haven't updated the news thing on their own website, but if you go and check their Twitter, they have posts saying, hey, it's out and everything. But the news site only has stuff from, like, what was it?
Yeah.
May? Yeah, end of May is their last developer update.
Well, on the upside, though,
start of July.
They do have a download button that takes you directly to the mod page where it's available.
That's good.
So that's good. And it says the actual upload date there, too.
Yeah.
And the update date. And they have an installation guide, which I appreciate. A lot of, like, more complicated types of mods.
Mm-hmm.
Always appreciate more tutorials than not. But yeah, this is a way to play Skyrim cooperatively. for about 2 to 8 players.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Kind of in the vein though of like the main, whoever the host is, I guess, is the one who kind of controls like the more role play stuff. So like dialogue and interacting with NPCs and stuff like that. So more so, if you're playing with that host, you're going to be more of a controllable NPC companion.
Yeah.
That can fight stuff. To me, that's still not completely what I would hope for in something a cooperative role-playing experience. There have been examples of co-op and both players taking on the role of the main character, like Dying Light 2, for example, a more recent example. Dying Light, the first one didn't have like actual like narrative dialogue choices. It was more like a B movie, a zombie B movie that you could play with your friends, and then you like fuse together when there's like a cutscene thing. The second one is the additional players can vote on like, you know, or suggest what the main player is saying in the dialogue, because you have dialogue choices. But it's very gameplay heavy, so like it still kind of gets a pass because you also still have full control with building your character too. And I don't know how detailed that is with Skyrim Reborn, or Skyrim Together Reborn, or if it's just like preset characters or imported characters or something like that. I should have read more about this, honestly. But instead we were reading about the chains that bind.
More fun.
the chain that binds. Oh my god, I said it wrong again.
It's such a stupid name. The chain that binds. It's the same thing. Chain is a chain of chains. That's the problem. Stupid chains. Yeah, This whole Skyrim Together Reborn thing. Cool. I hope the people who are playing it are enjoying it. I've been reading through like the comments, and it's all just like, it's crashing, it's crashing, it's crashing. But obviously, if people are gonna comment, a large part of that is going to be them going, hey, it's crashing, how do I fix this?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure overall how stable it is. But as long as most people are getting on alright with it, it's a cool little thing. It's just a mod you can play with your friends. If you're looking to play Skyrim multiplayer, I'll be honest, like, even outside of me not being much for modding, this doesn't have a big appeal to me. Like, Skyrim's very good at having, like, a civilized world with a lot of NPCs to interact with, so I get less of an inclination to want to play it with a friend, because you can really sink yourself into the world. Whereas I feel more of the Fallout stuff, where there's a lot more desolate wasteland and only small pockets of civilization. That's the sort of world where having an actual person with you feels a bit more rewarding to me, because there's so much just dead space and you're not coming across like people living their lives as much.
Even though 76 didn't do it for some people, it kind of did it for me for the time that you and I and others played it.
Yeah, it's probably my most played Fallout game.
Yeah, it's because it's set up by Bethesda to play with your friends, and is not the way it sounds as an MMO, because the servers can still only have like 24 people or something like that at a time.
Yeah,
and the map is huge. So, and there's role-playing stuff to do on 76 now, after Wastelanders and the other stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a fair bit of it. There's not been like any big recent updates, but yeah, I mean, still, this is like a mod that anyone can just go and download for free, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Although
it's something that interests you and you have somebody to play it with.
Yeah.
What was that?
Sorry, I'm just reading more comments. And it is the same thing of everyone just being like, oh, it's not working. But it's also like, people are going to comment if it's not working, so... I'll tell you what, if you in the comments have tried Skyrim Together, do give us... Just tell us, has it worked fairly well for you? Like, if it has or if it hasn't, do let us know, because I'm genuinely quite curious, and like... Nexus Mods doesn't seem to have like a rating system, So I can't tell through that if a lot of people are rating it up and down. And I just want to know, like, it good?
Sarge question. It good?
Yeah, it good? Why no good? Why yes good? Let know, please.
Question good.
It's enough of that. Let's move on to a new game.
Mm-hmm.
Because what kind of person would still be caring about Skyrim in this year?
I know, just some sort of nerd who
Yeah.
perhaps does it for a living. Anyway,
maybe.
Nudity warning. Hey man, if you have the hankering to see a 3D butt, man, you should check out the Soulframe trailer by the Warframe
I only like
developers.
2D butts.
You only like 2D butts? All right, you may be disappointed. So that was a good hook. Context, Digital Extremes has been working on Warframe, the free-to-play MMO that's freaking massive. So this is a game that's been actively developed for like Warframe, actively developed for like a decade, and now the old guard is like, hey, we want to work on something else currently. So Steve, who was the director for pretty much the whole time, passed off the torch to their community manager, Rebecca, as the director of Warframe. And now he and some of his team are moving on to a game called Soulframe, which is going to be a more fantasy-styled, very whimsical, as you can expect from the Digital Extremes team, type of game. But unfortunately, it's just a trailer with no gameplay.
A cinematic trailer.
A cinematic trailer with no gameplay. So we don't have much to see yet. Because don't assume that it's going to be a Souls-like just because it's called Soulframe.
That is, I wonder how many people are going to get caught out by that.
It's that I've seen that comment a lot, and I'm just like, I don't know if that's the direction they'll want to go at all, because of how they like doing things a little bit more differently, maybe even paced differently than Warframe is, because Warframe is insanely fast paced. For the type of co-op experience it is. But looking forward to more news about it for sure. And it's going to be another online multiplayer co-op type of thing.
Oh, it is. Man, you said that and I've instantly lost all interest. Oh, that's bad.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I wish I was more into the online multiplayer stuff like this.
Maybe.
If this was a single player, I'd be a little more interested, because I like wandering around fantasy worlds. Although it's almost certainly going to be in third person exclusively, which is a bit of a... It does have the Warframe aesthetic to it, which is something I kind of like. Like, the designs are very, what's the company called again? That makes Warframe?
Digital Extremes?
Yeah, it's very, like, Digital Extremes. It's obvious they made it when you're looking at, like, any of the, like, or a lot of the designs. Because it's like, oh, that's a Warframe, but a little less high-tech.
Yes. They have a very clear design philosophy when they make like factions and stuff like that, because then you can just by a glance, like in like almost anything Warframe related, you can tell the difference between the Grineer, the Corpus, and the Warframes. Because like the Grineer, they have rounded shapes and all of their armor and stuff like that, and even their ships are rounded, whereas the Corpus all have like boxy or crystalline shaped stuff, so you can tell one from the other pretty quickly, like pattern recognition thing for gaming. I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore.
You've lost me as well, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Speaking of not knowing what to say anymore, CD Projekt's stock value still sucks.
Oh.
Hey Sarge, when did Cyberpunk come out?
2.5 years ago, is it now? 1.5 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. It's been a while.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm genuinely having to check if it was 2.5 or 1.5 years now.
Well, I'll start reading the article then. PC, as of PC, oh my goodness. According to PC Gamer, that's the right word. CD Projekt stock is worth a quarter of what it was before Cyberpunk 2077 was released. A quarter.
Yeah.
1/4 of what it was worth before Cyberpunk released.
Yeah, and Cyberpunk released at the end of 2020.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's been more than a year and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they've taken a bit of a hit in how valuable they are. They're no longer the most valuable games company in Europe, which they were for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not anymore.
Nope.
Because Cyberpunk.
Yeah, because Cyberpunk. I'm sure they learned. I hope they learned. Because money.
Yeah. I mean, they are now trying to do like a whole bunch more Witcher-related stuff. Like that Gwent card game came out, remember? The one we talked about last time.
The one I just forgot about?
And, yeah, everyone's forgotten about and no one knows about. And everyone that plays it is kind of like, wow, this is worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've definitely learned their lesson.
I don't know what this currency is. The ZL 400. I don't know what that is.
Oh,
I wish they would have said.
Currency.
In the weeks leading up to Cyberpunk's launch, CD Projekt shares were trading at around 400 each.
Polish zloty.
Polish zloty. Okay.
Yes.
Hitting 443 a share only 6 days before the game's release. The story since then has been one of the sharp falls and brief plateaus, with CD Projekt shares and market cap halving in value the first few months of 2021, then almost having again since the end of March of this year.
Yeah. A zloty's worth about one zloty's like about, it's 21 cents.
Okay. So 21 cents plus 400 or
What?
times 400. Sorry. I can do math. I'm just trying to Americanize things, you know.
Okay, 400 zloty would be $85.
80. Oh, you just translated it. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I translated it. Of course I did.
Okay, fine. All right. You did it the easy way. Look at Sarge over here doing things the easy way.
Oh no, Sarge tried to get the correct answer for us. Let's bully him. Grr.
Okay. Anyway, it's not the end of the world for CD Projekt. The company still sits comfortably in the WIG 20 index of the 20 biggest companies, the Warsaw Stock Exchange. This whole sentence means nothing to me.
The company's still doing incredibly well, but the thing is, I was about to say Cyberpunk. CD Projekt Red was really riding a high from like The Witcher 3 doing so amazingly, and there was all the hype building up towards Cyberpunk, so they were like doing amazingly well. But then with Cyberpunk releasing, getting like removed from a store, tons of refunds being issued, just being panned a hell of a lot, and still to this point being somewhat broken.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked about it last time I went and replayed it, and had a more buggy intro than when I played it at launch. So the fact that all of this has happened has just plummeted the stocks of the company, but because they were so overinflated, they've basically gone from a super high to quite a low, but that low is still not that bad. Like, this has definitely hurt them, and hopefully humbled them a little bit, but it's not ruined the company.
I think they still have their moment coming up, because I know like the No Man's Sky thing was like a parallel to both Cyberpunk and 76.
I don't think it works as well for Cyberpunk.
I don't think it works as well for Cyberpunk because of the amount, because of the gap of time that's already occurred.
Yeah, it's been like so many months in the last big update.
Lack of fixes and also content.
Yeah. Like 76, while still having a bunch of bugs, got regular updates for like 2 straight years. Where there like wasn't a month, I don't think, where there wasn't at least a patch to fix some things or an update to add more content. Whereas Cyberpunk has had like a few tiny patches to add more, or a few tiny updates to add more content. One big, I say in quotes, update to add a reasonable amount of kind of cool content, and then like a few big patches to try and fix some bugs. But it's still got tons of bugs. There's not much content. Like, it's technically at a better state than launch, but it's not at the state you'd want it to be at all.
No.
Which is a real shame when there's not been that much.
What I was initially getting to is like maybe they're still trying to get to that Sean Murray moment. I had to look up his name. Sean Murray, the No Man's Sky, or Hello Games CEO and founder, or founder and managing director. Like he oversold his game at the very beginning. That was part of what No Man's Sky's downfall was. He was like, oh, you can do all of these things. Then players, once they got their hands on it, they were like, no, we can't. And they called him on it, and he reacted. But then he had a chance to actually, improve it, and like him and his team got to work.
Yeah, and it's been heavily updated ever since.
Yep.
And all the recent updates seem to be like applauded and like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah, it seems like a complete turnaround from what it was initially. But again, No Man's Sky is maybe at this point more of an exception than an example. Maybe the smaller team that Sean Murray has been working with, as opposed to a massive corporate team, is a better case for this situation than with Cyberpunk, and it's also using an already existing IP, which could have its own stuff that we don't even know. I don't know.
Well, there was a lot of almost lip service towards Cyberpunk elements in Cyberpunk 2077, with like various gangs were like from the lore of Cyberpunk as a whole, but didn't really stand out in any way other than, oh, they wear different clothes.
Yeah, that's it. They have different weaknesses if they have more
barely
robot
even
parts.
that. Yeah.
You'll find them on every street corner and be able to shoot them. That's the interaction you get.
Yep.
Anyway, just throwing out a reminder there that CD Projekt stock still sucks. They need to start getting with it with Cyberpunk, or like move on and start promoting something else.
Yeah, honestly, I think they have given up on Cyberpunk at this point.
It kind of feels like that.
I don't think there's going to be another update. I think that they're just hoping everyone's going to kind of forget about it, and that'll be the end.
There's a part of me that's still hopeful for Cyberpunk. Like, I will rip Cyberpunk to shreds whenever I have the chance, but I'm still hopeful for some things about Cyberpunk that I did enjoy very much. And that was heavily involved with the character stories, especially the ones with Judy and River. I liked those stories a lot, and also the Perales, the Peraleses, husband and wife, that they were like being sleeper agented.
Yeah, there's like some cool stories within the game,
and that teased a like DLC or something like that we may never get. The blue-eyed, I think it's like the blue-eyed man or something like that. Like when you get to the end of the Perales quest, I don't think it's spoilers at this point. The blue-eyed man is
spoilers for me. Because I didn't finish that quest.
No!
At least I did finish it, but I was like, oh, you want to give me a cash payout to stop playing this buggy quest that I'm playing at launch? Sure thing. Thank you, game. Hence, I've not got to the actual ending of it.
How far did you get into it? Did you investigate their apartment at least?
I think it's like right after you're done investigating.
Okay, so you have an idea of what's going on already then.
A vague idea.
Okay, so at the very end, when you have the choice of like telling the paralysis or just letting it go, there's an NPC involved with this quest that is spying on you on a like you're sitting at a bench talking to one of them, and then there's an NPC just spying on you on a balcony, like so many yards off to your left. And he is in one of the endings of the game too. The space ending. So I felt like he was going to be part of like one of the DLCs if they ever happen, or expansions or whatever. But like we were saying, it's been long enough time where like barely any content has happened. The game still has some pretty serious bugs in it. I don't know, man. we may not ever get to see that.
No.
Which is a bummer. Let's move on to something that's not a bummer. You played Tainted Grail Conquest, didn't you, Sarge?
I did. I quite enjoyed it. I think I recommended it a couple of times.
You did. So, was this something interesting and fun in your mind when you saw it?
Well, yeah, so Caedo linked an IGN article about Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon, which is a new game set inside the Tainted Grail world/universe/whatever. And I had no idea about this until you linked it.
Aha!
So I was quite happy to hear about it, because Tainted Grail Conquest is a deck-building roguelike. Obviously not everyone's sort of game, but I did quite enjoy it. The controls are a bit clunky, to be fair, because I literally replayed it after reading about this, just to get back into the world.
Just a couple rounds.
Yeah, because one of the most interesting things about it is the world, which is dark fantasy, but it's very weird. And I say weird as W-Y-R-D. It's weird.
Wired.
Weird.
Why
because there's the weirdness, which changes things, and it's like this fog, kind of a smoke and a fog that just distorts things and changes things and like mutates creatures and messes with your mind, and it's that kind of weirdness. As in, it's literally called weirdness.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. But even better, for someone like me who is a big fan of first-person open-world RPGs, is that The Fall of Avalon looks like it's gonna be kind of a first-person open-worlded RPG.
Yep. Early access.
Which is just really cool.
In Q4 of this year.
Yeah, end of this year. And we see some of the screenshots, and it's also really weird seeing these creatures, some of whom I thought similar versions of in this card game, but then you get to look at them from a first-person perspective, and it's like, oh yeah, the 20-foot creature is actually quite intimidating now. Back when I was like, I play the block card and it does no damage, you feel fine and like, I'm concerned. But when you're looking at it, yeah, it's such creepy vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, I do love it.
I'm only seeing... Did they show like actual... Did they show only those screenshots in the article, or was there more to like first-person gameplay?
I'm not sure if there's any gameplay out yet.
Because those look pretty pre-rendered.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to give it a quick Google. I will say we're using far fewer PC Gamer articles this time, but it does mean we're relying on other websites which aren't as good. I love you, PC Gamer. I'm sorry I've betrayed you.
other gaming articles which are inferior.
Yes. I'm going to check if there's a video of it. I can't see any videos. There's a lot of... Yeah, there's board game stuff. Why is it... Oh, it's actually sent me to Tainted Grail board game instead of what I wanted.
There's a board game!
Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon official cinematic trailer.
Oh.
Yes, IGN actually have it, and we're reading from their article, and yet they haven't linked it.
Well, I saw the cinematic... No, the cinematic trailer is playing in the main thing.
Oh, it's not for me.
Oh.
I've got Xbox finally gets long-awaited feature. Thanks, IGN. I haven't seen the cinematic trailer.
Oh, you hadn't?
No!
Oh my god. Yeah, that's supposed to be playing at the top of the article.
Yeah, it's not showing up on the IGN article. Oh. It doesn't show up for me.
Okay, sorry.
It's IGN's fault, not yours.
Okay. Dang it, IGN.
They don't have it actually baked into the page, I guess. It's just like a thing you could click on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cinematic trailer really doesn't show too much.
No. No, it doesn't.
But it does give you a rough idea of how gribbly and disgusting things will be.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yep. So imagine if Monty Python and the Holy Grail was not that at all. Boom. Tainted Grail.
Yes, so it's based upon Arthurian legend, which I know quite well as an ex-medieval reenactor who has reenacted some of the events of Arthurian legend in my past. I was always on the bad guy's side as well, because I was this tiny little child
who used to speak like this when spoken to.
Which gave like a nice little contrast, and people were like, oh, that kid is weird, his little blonde thing that goes...
Oh, it was,
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? Mordred? No?
No, wasn't Mord... I wasn't Mordred. I was a kid, I didn't get like a lead part. I tend to be like a warlock's apprentice kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like, who was that? Like Arthur's cursed son or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the right lines, but no. I didn't get a big part, come on.
By the way, Merlin, great film. Watch it.
There's a film called Merlin?
Yes. It's an old
I was
film.
not aware.
Yeah.
I'm aware of the series Merlin, which I quite enjoyed. But yeah, anyway, this is like Arthurian legend, but very dark. So it's more inspired by Arthurian legend, but throw in like a bit of Dark Souls and probably Skyrim level combat.
Mm-hmm.
And ta-da! Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon.
Boom.
Yeah, it looks
So
good so far. Just have to wait and see.
yeah, the race is on to see like which one reveals gameplay faster between Avowed, which is in the Pillars of Eternity universe by Obsidian, and now Tainted Grail.
No, Avowed is not going to win this race.
No.
This game's coming to early access at the end of the year, or is scheduled to.
Yeah.
Avowed missed out on the Xbox Bethesda conference where it should have showed up, and we instead got like some storybook game from the Middle
Just
Ages.
some storybook game.
I can't remember its name. I don't care about it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh yeah, I love this little storybook Theo Tapestry art style game. It's great. I'm like, nah, that's not my thing. I wanted to see Avowed. They didn't show me Avowed. Screw you, Obsidian. How dare you?
Wow. Okay. I love that our topic involves New Vegas as well. So the there's another thing that happened over the last couple of weeks that is actually official. We don't cover these enough. Sony has completed its $3.7 billion deal to acquire Bungie and welcome it into the PlayStation family.
Bungie got bought.
This is kind of big because Bungie's like always been Microsoft, right? Up to this point.
When did they split with Microsoft? No, they split ages ago because it was 343.
Oh, okay.
But then Bungie left them. But this was years and years ago at this point. I say years and years ago. Like 5 or 6 years ago, I want to say. It was like before Destiny came out. Okay. So it has been quite a while.
So was with Microsoft, then split off to be independent, and then...
And now is with Sony.
Is acquired by Sony. Man, people are changing hands.
I mean, it has been, like, this is probably, like, over the course of a decade this happened. So...
Yeah. I'm old, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. They even say that Bungie is... yes, I will keep calling them Bungie, you can't stop me.
Bungie?
The studio behind Destiny and every Halo game up to Halo Reach.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's around the time, or just after that was when they kind of split, so... Yeah.
Maybe it's more like the only opportunity they'll get to make a new a new IP, not be locked into Halo or whatever. Or
no, they don't have Halo.
Destiny.
It's Destiny.
Sorry.
343's Halo now, right? I
No,
think.
they initially had Halo, but now they don't.
Yes.
Right? Okay. I'm trying to keep up.
I mean, yeah, they've been bought. They do just continue to work on Destiny 2. But there is a next game coming up, and apparently, according to this article, the studio did confirm that Destiny 2 has an Easter egg for their next game. So...
For a
yeah.
Destiny 3?
I mean, On Twitter it says, have you left an Easter egg in Destiny for your new IP? And one of the people, Christopher Barrett, says yes. So, probably something new, or just a bit of Twitter trolling. Because who knows? People like to put a lot of faith into what people say on Twitter, and obviously it's just people taking the piss or not caring. So, that confirmation, very loose.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, man. Speaking of very loose, what did you link in the next story, Sarge? Something about D&D?
Caedo, how have you not watched this yet? Alright, everyone, we're going to need to take a 2-minute and 15 break so Caedo can watch the trailer for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
And then narrate. Do you want me to narrate it, or do you want me to just watch it?
You can do whichever feels right to you.
Okay. Number 1 on trending, according to YouTube.
Oh, it was number 2 on trending when I linked it, so that's gone up.
Oh, dear lord.
Oh yeah, it's got over 7 million views now. And it came out yesterday from the day of recording.
Oh my god. Okay. I'm just gonna narrate what I see here. Okay. Doing the quick clip thing to get everybody's attention, the hook. Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. They're a team of thieves.
Yes.
They're gonna do something.
Oh, probably steal something.
They're gonna make enemies. And enemies want revenge, probably because they stole something. They have a dragon. It looks like a black dragon.
I mean, the dragon's more implied to be against them, if anything.
There was a war at some point.
Wow.
Okay. They helped someone steal a thing, and they were the wrong person to help. And they're gonna fix what they did.
Keep going, keep going.
There's a lot of cool vistas that are definitely CG. There's combat sometimes, and magic, and
that's right.
Just showed a person with antlers that looked very much like Keyleth from Critical Role. The owlbear. Oh, that was the druid. Cool. And then now they're in a cave. There's the evil person. They have green fire. Definitely evil. Okay. Who needs heroes when you have thieves? That's the tagline. Just playing them out as an anti-hero. There's a mimic. Cool. It's just showing probably the entire movie in action sequences, and then they're going to stab a dragon. That's going to be the end of the movie as sequel bait for the next movie.
Wow, you hate this so much, don't you?
They're talking about making plans that fail because they're bad thieves, and that's the joke. Cool.
Coming out March 2023. Alright, so I love this.
Okay. Do you love it because it looks terrible, or do you love it because it actually looks cool and fun?
I think it looks great, honestly. I went into this quite skeptical, but I love it. You get a gelatinous cube, you get a bunch of dragons, you get an owlbear, you get what might have been a chimera, or even that thing we fought, which has the shadow shifting ability back in our D&D campaign. We only get a very brief look of it. There's some cool creatures. I like the overall party composition. I enjoy a lot of the what could be lip service, but actually looks like they're trying to integrate quite well a bunch of D&D elements. It looks like a fun fantasy film. While you did say a lot of stuff like CG environments, I actually think a lot of the environments are probably real.
Yeah.
Probably everything else
when I got
is CG.
when I got to that part of the movie, it was the big icy area that was very clearly didn't look like a natural formation.
I'm trying to find it.
It's at 56 seconds in.
Oh yeah, wow. By the time you got to it, it went to that point. I mean, there's a good chance that's CG, but that could be natural. I've seen weird formations of similar sorts to that.
I think it's
But I am
CG.
guessing that's probably CG.
Because of how far out it is, too.
I'm fine with that as well. Yeah, not all of it is real, for certain.
I said it looks cool, though, even though it is CG. Because it's very clear that the CG budget is pretty high because of, the whole druid shifting into an owlbear and then jumping on a horse thing.
Yeah.
Which was a really pretty cool little combat sequence.
Yeah. You get wild shifting in there. I've got zero problems with CG.
Yeah.
Because imagine a D&D movie where they didn't go with CG.
I didn't want to make it sound like I had a problem with CG. My bad.
Okay. That was your first, like, derisive sounding comment, so I
Sorry.
thought that was, like, the big issue.
No, this whole thing sucks. Okay.
I love it.
So, here's where I'm coming from, okay? Firstly, I am a Monster Hunter fan, and the Monster Hunter movie exists.
Okay.
I love the Monster Hunter games. I hate the Monster Hunter movie.
So you're thinking this is just going to be a repeat of that?
So if they're doing the thing like you were saying, like front loading references and creatures and stuff like that, that still can't save a movie.
All right. I will say first off, this appears to be set in the D&D world, which immediately is going to put it at least better than Monster Hunter.
Slightly
I think
better
even
than
at
Monster
its
Hunter.
worst, this will go better than that because we're not watching a bunch of American soldiers shooting an owlbear.
Yeah.
It's at least all within this one consistent world.
I will say the majority of the Monster Hunter movie did still take place in the Monster Hunter world because there was a super dumb portal that took some army soldiers or army rangers to. It was really dumb.
There doesn't appear to be anything like that in this. This all appears to be people in that world still being in that world. If they do throw in like here's a person from the real world who got sucked into the game, that could ruin it for me, to be fair.
Yes.
But there's nothing implying that's going to happen. So fingers crossed they've not.
What I'm
done
talking about too is like the CG monsters in the Monster Hunter movie looked fantastic. However, they didn't save the film. Because a lot of it, and it had even some like really off-putting horror elements, which would work better in a D&D thing, not so much in a Monster Hunter thing. I'm sure I'll give it a watch. Like, it looks like there's some parts of this that are gonna be great, or fun or something. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the team of thieves.
I mean,
I don't know yet.
Yeah, I've got the complete opposite reaction. I love it.
Am I too much of a cynic? Am I too much of a Sarge today?
Yep. Stop being a Sarge. Sarges suck. No, I like it, but I mean, we've got like a bard, a mage that seem to be like a paladin possibly, and a druid, and maybe a barbarian. Like, it's difficult to tell exactly what class each thing makes up, but I'm glad they're going for a nice broad party with it. Because it could very easily just go kind of like the Warcraft movie did, where it's like, here's lots of soldiers. But hopefully by expanding it a bit, we'll get to see a bit more variety, especially in action scenes, which it does look like there's going to be a lot of.
Man, I hope so. That's what I'm hoping too. Like I hope they're not putting all of like clips of every single action scene from the movie into the trailer, and then like the thing at the very, not the very end. The diving,
just before the jokey bit at the end.
The diving at the dragon part, like super slow-mo, very cliche bit. I can't find it now.
154.
Yeah, that moment, I'm really worried that they're gonna turn that into the Gore Magala moment, like that was in the Monster Hunter movie, where it's just and there's other movies that have done that too, like the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I believe. Like they used the Rhino and whoever else as sequel bait at the very end, and they used it in the trailer for the movie.
I mean, it doesn't look like it's sequel bait because at around the 10 to 20 second mark, we see them at that same location retrieving a crown which the paladin gets. So I'm guessing that's locked into part of a quest, which is probably like to unlock magical powers, because I believe later in the trailer at about 107, that appears to be the same crown, which is then being worn by their mage character to blast a huge shockwave. So that must logically come later, so this should be like the go and retrieve this magical item quest.
Wow.
And they'll fight the dragon for it.
You are pointing out the details like nobody's business, Sarge.
I'm good at this stuff. I know what I'm doing.
I'm really wondering if this druid is based on Keyleth from Critical Role, though. Like, because she's got horns more than what does that make her then? Man, I wonder now. Like if she's a half elf druid who happens to have horns, like Keyleth's character did, or happens to be a tiefling that looks like a normal person because body paint probably would have been too much. Because tieflings are usually many colors. Well, can be many different colors, I should say.
I, for one, am excited. And I'm pretty sure being on, like, Xbox Game Pass, I think there's a free, like, Paramount Plus subscription thing at some point. So I'm kind of hoping that this will end up on Paramount Plus, like, because it's Paramount who's making it, at a point where I'll be able to, like, get it within the free trial.
Who's the main actor dude, too?
It's one of the Chris's, right? He was in Star Trek as the lead.
It's one of the Chris's, yeah.
Yep.
Chris Kirk.
Yep.
Captain Chris Kirk.
Chris Pine. That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris Pine.
Cool.
Yeah, he's decent. Like, he's not one of my favorite Chris's, but I don't have like anything bad against him.
If we have a tier list of Chris's at any point, he'll be probably around the middle.
Yeah, it's like not a bad thing at all.
Not terrible.
He's solid.
Yeah.
He's never ruined a movie for me, but I've also never watched a movie just because he's in it.
True. Yep. Makes sense. Okay. Well, after that, I guess we're gonna watch it together, aren't we, Sarge? And then I'll be the Sarge of the night, and then you'll be.
Oh god. I don't know if I'll be able to take that. Honestly.
The guy who's enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm gonna love it. I mean, I'm probably gonna watch it multiple times if it is on a streaming service that I have.
Yeah.
So,
or we could make some sort of watch party out of it too, like one of our servers or something.
We'll have to see when the time comes.
We'll see,
because it is many months away.
Yep. So something that's not many months away, and that just came out, in fact, is Stray.
Yes.
Yes, the game where you're a cat.
Mm-hmm.
In a dystopian world, which is pretty.
There's
great.
lots of robots in the world.
Yes.
Honestly, it doesn't seem dystopian to me. All of humanity's dead and there's robots and cats. This is utopia in my eyes.
No, there's actually a third thing that still makes it a bit dystopian.
Oh yeah, the enemies.
That'd be a. I don't want to spoil too much though, because like it makes it fun. Anyway, Stray, yeah, you get to play as a cat. You get to do cat things. You get to like scratch up rugs and stuff. You get to knock stuff off of counters and tables and shelves. Got a little robot companion that does like the dialogue reading and stuff like that. Kind of cool how they set that up actually. Where like the UI is obviously very, very minimal. So when UI is needed, the companion pops out of the backpack and does like the inventory stuff and the talking to NPC stuff. Keeps you immersed. Immersion, the thing that we like to say.
Immersion. Yes.
I've been playing it, but I probably want to save that
have.
for the what have we been playing section.
Oh man, everyone's been playing this. I'll be honest, I have zero interest in playing this myself. Yeah. Just not for me. But I've watched 3 separate people stream the start of a game.
Yeah.
Like friends of the channel, Jared Gaming and Crazy Eyed Eddie, both streamed this.
Oh, Eddie streamed it too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he streamed. I think it was his return to Twitch stream, possibly.
Oh, yeah. I watched him play Forza Horizon 5 and then have like a half-hour phone call with his dad while trying to stream at the same time. And I was like, "You can go AFK, Eddie. It's okay." Like,
yeah. No, I watched both of them stream it, and I watched Ellen Rose from Outside Extra stream it for 2 hours and cry a lot.
Ellen is a treasure to be kept
she
safe
loves cats
at all times.
So much.
Ellen and Luke, like, they make that show. Like, if anything happens to either one of them, I'm gonna have the worst time.
It's been quite fun to watch, but honestly, I'm at the point now where I'm like, yeah, I get what the game is. This 100% just isn't my kind of game.
Yeah.
But it's cutesy, and lots of people are enjoying it, and it seems to be doing very well. Because it's very much flavor of the week game.
Yeah, it is. And something that because the gameplay length isn't particularly long, like you could knock it out in a weekend. Like I think that's part of what makes it good, and also the price point, which is $30 instead of $60. or 70 that companies are trying to push now. And it's just got that nice like AA kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That like, you know, that there was lots of passion and commitment put into this game when you try it, and that is good. That's a selling point for me.
Yeah. I think it does what it's intended to do very well.
Yep. Be a cat, mess with people's days, and go on an adventure as a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the news things. Ended strong on play a game with a cat on it. Well, our topic. You demanded that I take the lead on.
Yes.
The chain, singular, that binds. So I had this written down in the topic suggestions section. Like, we have just a giant list of things we could do for a topic, and every single time we set up to record, we're usually just like, oh, what do we do? And then we just end up adding something else.
Yes.
And doing that instead. So this one's been sitting here for a while, and I found the post that I initially based it on too in the Fallout subreddit. Don't worry, I am still blocking Reddit. This was only like a specific search to a specific post to get the topic, so I'm not dooming too hard. So basically what the chain that binds is according to, I played Fallout New Vegas just to look this up really quick. It is a cornerstone of the Brotherhood organization, the rock that supports the great tree of the Brotherhood and its myriad branches. It holds that 1. Orders are to flow from high down through the ranks. An order from a superior must always be obeyed, that their wisdom may be carried out without hesitation. And 2nd, orders are to observe the flow and not skip ranks. So a superior may only give orders to his direct subordinates and not those further down the chain. I was only able to get one screenshot before the game crashed, so
and not
thanks.
to those beneath them. In this way, harmony of intent and cohesion of thought is maintained.
Thank you. I'm glad you found it.
It's on the wiki page.
Is it on the wiki page?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, there it is, in the quotes.
It's on the wiki page. There's like 4 paragraphs in the wiki page.
I ignore italics. That's just how my eyes work. Don't put things in italics if you want me to read them. So
Noted.
This was used initially in Fallout New Vegas as some sort of a reason for Elder McNamara to be ousted by Hardin.
Yep.
Because Hardin was not a person who likes staying put, and McNamara had a lockdown employed after the events of Helios 1, I believe, and not wanting to lose more people than they already had, or something along those lines. I don't exactly remember all the details about that, or maybe something to do with the war between NCR and Legion. But anyway, Hardin started getting impatient and wanted to employ the help of the courier to figure out some sort of workaround to get McNamara out of the elder chair and put Hardin in said elder chair, so they could actually start carrying out more recon missions and actually know what's going on the surface. So that's one of the options you have, is to continue working with Elder McNamara and just doing, the checking on recon teams, finding out they're dead or alive, and determining what the next step should be with the Brotherhood. And Hardin, I think you could carry out the same missions with Hardin as Elder too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure either way you basically end up having to do the same stuff.
Oh, yeah, I think another key part is that McNamara is acting Elder because Elijah left without a word. That's probably important. Because after Helios, Elijah just disappeared, and they were getting killed by the NCR, as well as it's the NCR threat. They're getting killed by the NCR, and their elder just dipped. So McNamara
He was the former head paladin, so
okay,
next one in line.
So Hardin, I guess Hardin would be like head paladin too, because he's a top advisor to McNamara. Okay, now we're there. We have the structure down, kind of. This was reintroduced in Fallout 76 with the Steel Rain, Steel Dawn
update,
Steel Dawn stuff. Where we might have a little bit of spoilers here for Steel Dawn if you're like super spoiler-y, not liking spoilers, because the Steel Dawn story is actually really good. I really enjoyed the Steel Dawn story.
It genuinely is. If you're a Brotherhood fan, you should play Steel Dawn.
It's really good. Don't sleep on this. Like, if you have Game Pass or whatever, just skip this section, because the Romani and Shin stuff is really cool. For the rest of you that don't care, so there's a bit of a power struggle with the Brotherhood of Steel. Like, once they come back to Appalachia, Paladin, is it Paladin? Knight Shin. Sorry, Paladin Romani is the superior officer. Knight Shin is the second in command. And basically, what Paladin Romani wants to do now that they're so far away from the West Coast Brotherhood is to kind of focus more on helping the people of Appalachia and kind of just doing things their own way. Like, dang the Codex, we're just gonna help people. Kind of similar to how the Brotherhood of Steel did it in Fallout 3. Whereas Knight Shin is like, we wouldn't have been this far if we hadn't have been following the Codex. We would probably be dead. And he's more along the lines of following orders and using that chain of command to maintain order and stuff. So Shin, very order-oriented. Romani, head in the clouds, can quickly become a downfall with that kind of chip on your shoulder when you're in a leadership position. So it makes for a really cool dynamic between the two, because ultimately you're still a bit railroaded with how you can handle the big moment where you're just where they're about to contact the West Coast, because that's part of what they're trying to do, is reestablish contact. That's the thing Shin wants, but Romani just turns on all of you and stabs the radio transmitter with a amazing plasma spear. That's one of the cool things that got introduced too, which was neat. And like just cuts off communication entirely. So you're just they're just floating around in the wind with only themselves to command, without the I don't know, extra control of the West Coast Brotherhood. And I'm only recalling that sequence because you can't really replay it without restarting 76, which sucks. Because I would like to like go back to a previous save and be able to do that again, because it is such a cool story. And then Steel Rain is like kicks off after the Steel Dawn stuff, where even though Romani and Shin are at odds with each other, there's still the massive threat of the super mutants in the Appalachia area and like breaking into the Atlas Observatory and just wreaking havoc. But yeah, so ultimately the chain that binds is also brought up with the Romani and Shin stuff, because Romani is going behind basically her second in command, or going over the top of her second in command to carry out whatever she wants, basically. And obviously Shin is like, that's not what we were taught as initiates.
Well, very specifically, she's breaking orders from those above her, which would break the first of the two chains that bind.
And it breaks that too. Yeah. So she's double breaking the chain, basically. So it's used as a good example to enforce that player choice, because the player does ultimately get a choice towards the very end of the Brotherhood arc in 76 on who is the leader of the Brotherhood chapter there, which is really cool and so cool and better set up than it would be in Fallout 4 if they left that thing in with Dan's, which I'm glad they did not do that. So this comes back around to, speaking of Dan's, now that we have the idea of the chain that binds, I also brought up the Wikipedia article. I'm kind of going all over the place. I'm sorry. This is how my brain works. In a military context, this is just a direct reflection of what a chain of command is. If you've worked for a manager and that manager has worked for a supervisor, boom, there's your chain of command. Obviously, if your supervisor goes over their or a manager goes over their supervisor's head and does something like talks to corporate or something like that without consulting them first, they can be in pretty hot water for doing so. How the chain that binds is written is much more rigid in the sense that you can be demoted or taken or have your privileges taken away completely, or your status taken away if you decide to break that chain, which is used as a way for Hardened to succeed, or secede. Is that the right? What's the right word? Succeed? Yeah, succeed. Elder McNamara in Fallout New Vegas, or for Shin to succeed Romani. So that's arguments for the chain that binds and kind of working how it's supposed to. Whereas the situation with Elder Maxon in Fallout 4, Arthur Maxon, there was some posts in the Fallout subreddit. It's 4 months plus behind us now, which is how long it took us to actually use this as a topic. But there were people posting that.
Are you just wanting to say that Maxon gives orders to like the player character when he's an initiate, even though he's like the top paladin?
Yeah, so I believe that is part of it. That Maxon is directly giving orders to the player character. But the protagonist breaks all kinds of rules of chain of command all the time anyway. It like outside of the Brotherhood too. But part of that is used as an argument to get or have a reason for Elder Arthur Maxon to be justified as some sort of poor leader, or justify as a reason to step down, or even a reason for that cut content with Paladin Dan's succeeding to be more easily justified in some way. Whereas I don't know if it's that, because on multiple occasions it is Paladin Dan's more telling the player character, hey, report to the Elder, he'll want to hear about this, or hey, report to the Elder, we're done here, because you're still working with Paladin Dan's when you go on some of those missions, but because you're not always there when Paladin Dan's is off doing stuff, you're present for the reporting process. So it's more of a gamification, I think, than the chain that binds being broken or something. I don't know, maybe this topic was something I was just overthinking and decided to just vomit words all over your ear holes. But maybe there's something I'm missing here. I don't know. Was there any details that come to mind with Fallout 4 for you, Sarge, in the Brotherhood stuff?
I mean, if the chain that binds was like met and everyone had to only talk to the person immediately superior or inferior to them, that'd be boring and suck and be pointless and stupid and dumb and make the game worse. So why do that? The chain that binds is dumb. New Vegas added it in as like this big historic thing, despite never having been mentioned in any of the classics.
I think it's more that New Vegas added it in just for a way to make that dynamic happen.
Yeah, it was just a way to do this quest, but they decided to write it in as like this whole thing that's always been around, and like, this is super important. 76 decided to bring it back because it works well with the like.
It works
Night Shin
really
and
well.
Paladin
It works really well
Romani
with their dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, with Night Shin, you do need a bunch of rules, and I'm not sure how many like hard set rules there are from the classics for the Brotherhood that Romani could be going against that are like laid out in such a way. But even in the way it's laid out, like there are issues with both of the 2 points.
Just 2
in the chain that binds.
There's only 2,
and both of them are wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, an order from a superior must always be obeyed, that their wisdom may be carried out without hesitation. The second part of that sentence isn't really a directive. It's just implying that you shouldn't be hesitating, but it doesn't outright say that orders must be done immediately. Which means as long as you eventually get around to doing what you're told, you're not breaking the chain that binds, and there's no like actual time limit set on it. Or if you do the interpretation, but it does have to be done without hesitation, then if anyone just like coughs before they go and do it, you can be like, you broke the chain and you're gone. That's like a terrible, terrible first one. And on the second one, despite that on the first they say that their wisdom, on the second one it's a superior may only give orders to his direct subordinates. So any superiors who don't have the his pronoun are not catered to within that second point, because they went from using their to using his. So they've immediately got another. There's loopholes for both of them, which make both of them redundant if you're like a female character who cares about timing.
Yeah. I mean,
if I wrote the chain that binds, it would not have these issues. Let me just say that.
I mean, it's also called the Brotherhood of Steel, which automatically has a
That's more of an implication.
Sound. So that could have just been a writing flub, but I understand.
It's just very badly done. Although I have actually noticed, because I've been playing a bunch of like old Bethesda games, the amount of times it will say like his instead of their. Like in Oblivion all the time, it's like a user who blocks an attack with the shield will have his thing go up, and I'm like, I'm playing as a female character. It's not right.
And they have gotten better about that over time too, which is nice.
Yeah, it's just I notice it quite a bit. Like, why do they have this so often?
Yeah.
But anyway,
player designations are hard for developers.
They're not use there. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
I mean, it has become more accepted. So that makes it easier.
It's not even about the accepted thing. It's literally just if you can have a character that's not going to be just one pronoun, use their. Just any time. It's like the Borderlands games. They use their because you can play as different characters.
Well, initially,
so of course you use their.
Initially, Bethesda's workaround, I mean, it's still been that way, is that they use the title of the character instead. The hero of Kavach or the hero is how they're designated in Oblivion more so.
Yes.
Same with Courier or I mean that's Obsidian, but still same kind of deal.
Yeah. I mean, throughout any games, if you've got a character that isn't preset in a way like Geralt of Rivia is in The Witcher, if you've got to create your own character, you should be using the broadest terms to speak to them to ensure that you do hit them. And it's really not that hard to do. But that's a separate rant, which I've already ranted about before.
Just refer to me by title, because I'm so cool. I think that it's a pretty paper thin reason for Arthur Maxon to step down, like very similarly to how paper thin it was for even the New Vegas faction, because I think the reasoning for Hardin to get McNamara to step down is just McNamara going over his head and commanding some of Hardin's men to do recon. Which is something Hardin was already going to do, I found out. So if Hardin communicated that to McNamara and McNamara just made it happen after Hardin was talking about like what he would have done, then more so McNamara is just more doing him a favor and just forgetting to tell him about it. Or it's doing for him what he was going to do already. Like,
it's some BS rules lawyering, is all it is.
It really is.
And honestly, I mean, you've said, like, some people use this to say, like, the Maxon's done bad and stuff like that, but in this Reddit post, the main post has 91 upvotes. and there's 2 posts basically saying, yeah, it's BS, who cares? Have over 100 upvotes.
Yep.
Because no one cares.
Yeah. Some people care.
Little thing that added in. Yeah. But it's like the most technical of technicalities where people are being like, actually, because of this wording of this thing which I've interpreted in this way, this is gonna be bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are like, but gun go bang. I like gun but go bang. Bang 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 bang. Ha! Shotgun slugs.
And like this if let's see, I personally, let's start with a moral. I personally don't like being micromanaged. I don't know about anybody else who's worked under someone, but I personally don't like being micromanaged. But the very rigid example of the chain that binds seems like it's exactly that. Like you can't do anything without making sure it goes through the chain properly. So like, oh, I gotta go to the restroom. Tell your superior officer, make sure they tell their superior officer, and then you can go use the restroom. Not before. I don't know how good of an example that is, but it seems like it's a little too rigid, just to be used for this specific example and then not used again until 76.
Yeah. Which
it was used very well in 76. So you have a good example and a bad example, I guess is what I'm saying. Of this weird MacGuffin chain that binds thing, but ultimately it's just another situation like the FEV or the GEC. Like it comes up when it's needed for the story to keep progressing, and then it disappears again.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like with games and with pretty much anything, even my own life, it's much better to live by rules which are somewhat flexible and have less concrete definitions to them than stuff that you try and write down in the most here is exactly what it is way, because even then someone will come along and point out that you've put his instead of there and that the second part doesn't correctly ascertain your meaning.
Are you telling me there's nuance?
Yeah, you should...
that just exists?
Hard and fast rules are dumb because people don't know how to write them correctly, and people interpret things in different way because the human language is not some solid set in stone sort of thing.
Especially when there's
just
two
like that.
Just 2 steps to that rule.
The fact they mess up both of them, it bugs me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I do want to know from, like, I'm pretty much good with this topic, I think. Man, I actually had one more thing to say that was barely connected to it. Do it. Tell me right now.
I was going to say there are 2 rules I follow within my life, which I see as perfect counters to the chains that binds, which are dilemma and indulgence. Dilemma being, having sworn fealty, must I spend my life in servitude? Which is like, yeah, I'm going to break the rules, sure. And indulgence, I do what I want, you have problem. Those are my rules to counter chains that binds. Yeah. Screw you, Brotherhood.
Yeah. Take that, McNamara and Hardin's Brotherhood of Steel, you suck. The rest of the Brotherhood, you're pretty cool. I should have mentioned that, like, it wasn't Roger Maxon. It was Elder Maxon of some description. One of the Maxon bloodline elders that went over the head of the council in Fallout 1 just to command you directly.
Everyone breaks the chains, but
everybody breaks it. Everybody breaks it. That was using as another example.
It's like the rule at my old workplace where you weren't allowed to date co-workers.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone broke it.
Everyone broke it.
Everyone dated each other. It was fine. Nobody cared. But the socks rule they cared about.
What?
Oh,
huh?
You want to come in white socks? Had to wear white socks.
Oh.
I got in trouble for that. I wore black socks one day.
Dang it, Sarge.
They were not happy.
Why are you wearing black socks?
I know.
We had a black socks thing in my workplace because it matched the uniform kind of thing. I'm sure it was similar to you. Yeah, I was wearing white socks one day and my boss was like, I think it was the night supervisor, and he was just like, "Why are you wearing white socks?" And I'm like,
"Wait, didn't you work basically behind a desk?"
I worked in the command center where all the camera monitors are. So the only people that were going to see my socks were my superior officers. And that's it.
These rules are stupid.
Or I was going to be driving around in a
rules.
patrol vehicle and not stepping out of it at all to where people could see my socks. Anyway, stupid rule is what we're trying to say. Also, black socks make your feet sweat more, so if you have a problem with athlete's foot, it makes it worse. Which I do, so I don't wear black socks. That's just a side tangent. Anyway, if there's a detail on the chain that binds that like we didn't get to, like this was just a follow these links for us and like look through, get the details. I booted up New Vegas just to make sure I got some details, and then the stupid like terminal mini game that I blocked out for some reason because it's stupid. With Scribe Ipsen just to actually get to the information in the terminals. If there is something that we missed or a detail that you think should be talked about a bit more or whatever, please leave a comment as a comment of the cast. We do have more to talk about, and that would be, what are you playing and doing, Sarge?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, well, channel-wise, Fallout Roni ended, so it's now just challenge runs.
Yay! You called it the thing
Skyrim-
I call it.
Yeah, I did. The Skyrim crafted items only, it's still going strong. A lot of people enjoying that. In fact, the comment of a cast came from someone who I'm pretty sure found the PIPCAST through that challenge run. So
Nice. Awesome.
hey, yeah. I've also started a new challenge run. Episodes will be coming out next week, I want to say. So I'm not going to spoil what that is yet, but it is Fallout based.
Ooh.
And outside of that, I've been playing a couple of games a lot.
Yes.
And first on that list is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen.
Hey.
Because, yeah, we talked about it, I believe, last time. I finally bought the game, and I've been playing it.
Oh wait,
And
we wouldn't be friends if I didn't give you crap for playing a third-person game, Sarge. So
oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
why are you playing a third-person game, Sarge? I thought you hated third-person games. What are you doing?
Yeah, the third person is bad. And I have complaints to say. Yeah, despite the fact I put in well over 20 hours into this game, I have a lot of complaints, and I'm going to justify them.
Okay.
So I've been playing this game on Steam. Steam has achievements, and the achievements tell you, like, how many people get them. Which is, like, quite interesting. Because once I got to the point where you summon a pawn, who is, like, just a follower, 73.7% of players have unlocked this achievement. You do that within the first hour of the game.
Yes.
A lot of people already clock out at this point. The point I'm at, which is just like 4 or 5 missions into the main story, 28.8% of players have this achievement. Big thing I noticed while going through, like, yeah, once you go to the first, or once you complete the first mission at the first location you go to outside of your starting area, it's 66.3% of players have this achievement. A third of people playing the game on Steam give up on it before they complete the first mission outside of a little fishing town you start in.
Yep.
What this game does very badly is simultaneously over-tutorializing and under-explaining. There are constant pop-ups that just, like, fill the screen and stop you from playing, telling you just what to do, essentially, but not actually providing helpful information. Helpful information such as, hey, in your stash you have an unlimited fast travel stone, because otherwise you have to use these, like, consumable stones to fast travel to places. So it was at least 10 hours into the game where I worked out how fast travel works, and that I could do it and didn't have to walk constantly between one location and the other. Very annoying, obviously.
Yeah.
The combat as well, you mentioned it being third person, there's not like a lock-on system or anything, and actually getting your character to face the way you want them to can be a real pain, which is difficult when you quite often need to be precise in where you're hitting enemies. Like, some enemies have armor in specific places that you need to dodge, some enemies are made up of multiple parts, so you need to hit the right part of them. It can be an absolute pain, and there's been at least one time where I died by doing a charging attack, and instead of charging along the side of a cliff towards the enemy, it shot me off the edge of a cliff. Just cause. So yeah,
Did
that's
you record it?
I don't know.
Damn.
I probably just rage quit. I have got some recordings of the game. How many recordings have I got? Oh, I actually got quite a lot, so there's a good chance I do have a recording, to be fair.
Okay.
But yeah, it's also like working out how to get strong can be a bit of a pain. Like, normally you're super underleveled and super weak for ages throughout the game, and I dealt with that. And I ended up going off to a dangerous area, slaying a chimera with like a rusted sword and rusted shield, because that's all I had. I managed to do it by like just really going for it, being primarily a healer for my party who all died in like one hit, but every time I just moved smart and pick them back up. And we got through it, and then I picked up, finally, a sword that wasn't rusted. And it was like, yes, I can do this. And it was at, like, the 10-hour mark. And as I mentioned earlier, at the 10-hour mark, I found out about Fast Travel Stone, which was in my inventory. And, also a bunch of good armor and weapons, which you can use from the start of the game.
Whoops.
Yeah, the game has essentially just been that over and over. Like, this really sucks. Oh wait, the game just has the solution to it in a box over here, and doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
Ta-da! But yeah, I've been enjoying it.
I was gonna say, so are you liking it?
Yeah, it's alright. Like, there's a lot of bad to it, but there's also a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like, when you get to grips with it, there's, like, Monster Hunter elements, Dark Souls elements, Skyrim elements. There's a lot of, like, oh, we've got a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
It's like a
I
mashup
get
of
why
those,
people
yeah.
enjoy it. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff to it. It has a lot of flaws, and I'd have been remiss not to point them out. And also point out, just by checking achievements, just how easy it is to spot how many people give up on the game.
Just drop off completely, yeah.
Yeah, the drop-off is super sharp.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at a point, just like in the main story, where about a quarter of players actually get to, and it's not a hard point in the main story to get to. Like, I've spent over 20 hours playing, but like I say, I didn't have fast travel for half of that. So a lot of it was just me walking from one location to another and then dying and respawning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's a thing. But yeah, I have ended up enjoying it, and I kind of needed a game to just get fully engrossed into, and that worked for me.
Oh, good.
The other game I have returned to is Magic the Gathering.
Oh, no!
Yeah, I know.
No, Sarge!
I decided to install it. I've been playing a bit on Arena. I've been playing Brawl, which is good, because it's like Commander, in that you only have one copy of each card, which helps to avoid a lot of the loot boxy, monetizey based stuff. Because instead of needing to get 4 copies of every card, and all of the really good cards, when you're limited to just 1 copy of each, you've got a much higher chance of getting them, and getting the cards you want, and being able to like build a deck that actually does well, which I really like. Singleton formats are the best. But yeah, I've played a fair bit of that. I've now hit the point where I realise before turn 1 even, I can tell, just based on what commander the enemy has, whether or not I'm going to win. Because the game is not particularly well balanced. And in particular, there's a slug, which always wins.
Oh.
Yeah.
A slug?
Yes, there is an enemy slug. It's a 7-drop. It's, I believe, 6/6 attack or 7/7 attack. But its effect is, at the end of every... at the end of every turn, put a -1/-1 counter on every creature you don't control.
Oh.
And every time a creature with one of these counters dies, create a 1/1 slug creature for yourself.
Oh, no. Oh, that's awful.
You can also sacrifice the slug creatures to draw cards. It's terrible.
Sounds
it's
overpowered.
so bad.
Sounds really powerful.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You basically have to be playing a deck which has a whole bunch of destruction in it to get rid of that card, or else you lose. And my best deck, which I can most consistently win with, or second best deck now actually, is a werewolf deck, which is great fun. Lots of werewolves which transform and stuff and just kind of charge in and quite aggro, but very creature-based.
Wolves and werewolves are fun.
Yeah, but it's got 0 chance of winning if Slugboy comes out, because everything just gets debuffed and then destroyed, and then that's it.
Dang.
Yeah, the accidental best deck I made was with poison counters, and that's because everyone rage quits, because poison is a cheap mechanic in Magic.
Yeah, it is. I know.
It's so cheap. And I'm amazed no one else was playing with it, and I stopped playing with it because I feel bad whenever I play with that deck.
No.
But I'm pretty sure it's got a 100% win rate for
Don't
me.
feel bad.
I can't help it. It's just like, oh, I hit you 5 times.
It's more.
and
I
you've
would
lost the
call it
game.
more of a forgotten mechanic because so many have come out after it.
Yeah, but ew.
But you come.
One day
you
there'll
come
be
back.
slivers coming back.
Come in there with poison by surprise. They're just like, oh, I wasn't prepared for this. Well, that's you should be.
Yeah.
It's Magic the
Yeah.
Gathering.
It was still quite fun. But one final thing I wanted to bring up, outside of video games, I've been watching the show Stranger on Netflix, which is great.
Is it strange?
Not really, actually.
Oh.
It's not that strange. It's a Korean crime mystery,
Ah.
and the first season is essentially around solving a murder, and it's each season's 16 episodes long. Each episode is an hour or sometimes more. The last episode was about an hour and a half. So it's real long, real slow burn, but the characters are so well done. I love it. I've already moved on to season 2 because I enjoyed it so much. And there's great dynamics between the characters. There's really hard-hitting moments. The writing and acting is impeccable. And cinematography is surprisingly good for a show that doesn't have, like, any action set pieces or anything of the sort. There's a lot of people just sitting around kind of talking, or having phone calls with each other. Or season 2 starts with, like, a character checking an Instagram feed, which all sounds like stuff which is incredibly boring, but it's all just exceptionally well done.
It sounds like you like watching soaps.
It's not really a soap, because it's all about this deep crime mystery, and it's incredibly complex and multi-layered.
How you're describing it sounds like one.
Here's the thing, you can't describe it in a way that sounds particularly good. Like, the most exciting thing that happens in season 1 is a character getting stabbed.
Oh no!
And being killed that way.
Now you have my attention.
That happens 3 times across the course of about 18 hours.
Oh wow.
The rest of it is people talking.
Oh man.
But it's so good. And there's an amazing sting at the end of every episode, the actual musical bit of it, which fits perfectly. The characters really are great. Like, the lead character is like an emotionless, cold individual, and that plays really well off of everyone. It's so good, and I know with every word I'm describing it, it just sounds so boring, but genuinely check it out. Honestly, just check out Korean crime shows in general. They are among my favourite shows of all time. In fact, my favourite show of all time is Beyond Evil, another Korean crime show. They're just so well done.
Awesome.
So, Caedo, what Korean crime shows have you been watching?
Oh man, the Korean crime shows I've been watching are Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one.
I've still been playing Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Big surprise. Caedo getting his master rank up to 100. I think I'm at like 80. Was that 89 or something? 82, something like that. I think the content currently stops at like master rank 100. So once I get to that point, then I'll just be waiting for more big content updates, because like once a Monster Hunter game comes out, it has continuous content for a pretty big amount of time. Especially after like a big expansion that's supposed to be the end of the game. So I have that to look forward to, I suppose, but I'm trying not to burn out on it, so I'm playing other things like Stray. We already talked about that releasing. Walking around dystopian world with robots as a cat. It is great. It is wonderful. I think I said most of what I wanted to say about it in the earlier news section. So play Stray. It's $30. It's worth your money if you like dystopian worlds, playing games as a cat, knocking things off of shelves. But I don't know if it's on Game Pass or not. Maybe?
I don't believe so. No, it's not. It won't be, because it's a PS4 exclusive, not console-wise.
PS5?
PS5 exclusive, whatever numbers are up to now.
I'll skip a step then. Speaking of PS5, I finally managed to order one from Sony. it was very, very intricate in how they set this up. Okay, just to prevent scalpers. And I'm guessing it's been this way for a while. I had a PlayStation account already because I had a PS3 and a PS2 and a PS4. So you go to the PlayStation site, log in, make sure your payment info and stuff is there. They had a queuing system where you could opt in to receive an email when their next supply is available. Once that next supply is about to become available, they send you a following email telling you this is your secret link to access that site to queue up to potentially buy a PS5. And you have this day in this time bracket. And also you have to confirm that you're not a robot, of course. So,
yep.
All of these steps primarily is very clear to prevent scalpers. And it's even like one PS5 purchase per household. So
yeah,
you would have to like use multiple different cards or something to like even try to purchase another PS5. So all of this to resolve that huge issue that everybody hates about scalpers and taking all the stock before you actually have a chance to get one.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there watching a Twitch stream while I was waiting in the queue. It took, I don't know, like 20 minutes because I did it like on the dot then joined the link. It was like 11 a.m. my time is when it started. So I hopped in, waited 20 minutes. It said I was ready. It even plays a sound if it's in another tab to tell you that it's ready. It takes you to the store page. You can make your purchase, and then I was able to make a purchase, and hopefully it should be arriving within the next week. So
nice.
I am finally going to get a chance to play the new Horizon game.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've been interested in Returnal, and that is a PS5 exclusive. I would like to really play that game. So, yeah. We'll give updates as we go, I suppose. Because next episode I'll probably have it and have been able to play something on it. Two other things I've played and or made. In Space with Markiplier. This is a series on YouTube that everybody should try. It is a choose your own adventure made by Markiplier and including a whole bunch of additional YouTubers as actors in this scenario. Basically, you play a captain. In this scenario, Markiplier is like the head engineer, and you're trying to prevent your ship from blowing up, basically. I don't want to spoil too much because it gets way more complicated than that. But the permutations and the branches that this does are incredible and seem to be pretty high budget. Yeah. If you watch Corridor Crew, you may have seen Markiplier on there too, on their like video creators series, because Mark consulted them with how to do certain things when it came to cinematography. So I think it's freaking awesome. Again, it's on YouTube. Just type in Space with Markiplier, part 1, and go on a little adventure. It'll take like, I don't know, upwards of like a half hour or something like that to get through it, but it's really fun, and hilarious. They use the Markiplier dummy a lot. So it was quite a bit entertaining. Also, I guess if you can't stand Markiplier, then probably don't. But I'm not really a Markiplier fan, and I really enjoyed it. So
I've never met anyone that disliked Markiplier. To be honest,
I feel
like everyone is either likes him or is like, I don't really care.
I know one person that actively dislikes him, but I'm not gonna call him out. I'm not gonna be mean. Because it's also somebody I know personally. But
oh man.
Also, ending on the big one, I finally finished my Fallout 2 Made Man guide, which will go up yesterday as of this publishing. So,
wow.
So Saturday.
I'm gonna watch it right now.
Yay! Sarge, you actually went over the script for me as
I did, yes.
an awesome favor, and I appreciate that a lot.
No worries.
Helping me figure out how to make it more straightforward and guidey, because it's a very complicated process to get made men with all 4 families in New Reno. Pointed out the specifics with being respectful with Mr. Salvatore because he's a butt. But I'm pretty proud of that guide. Again, it's gonna be another slow burn, I'm sure of it, because it's very very specific, and it's also Fallout 2. So, you know,
yeah, it's not gonna show up in people's recommended. It's gonna be one of those videos people search for.
Probably gonna take a while. It's gonna be a search heavy one. But I wanted to make it, and I made it. So there it is. I may do a companion one too, because in my playthrough I plan to get all the companions too. Speaking of the playthrough, I'm in Navarro, currently getting killed a lot. So if
F's in chat.
if you want to catch up on the Fallout 2 playthrough, that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see Caedo Liquidado, because everything uses plasma in Navarro. And I think that's pretty much all I've been up to, besides, you know, the physical therapy crap and whatnot. That hasn't really changed much, except my shoulders are working better now, which is great.
Yay.
So there's that. Any final things, Sarge? Any final announcements? Final whatevers? Okay. If y'all want to be a comment of the cast, please leave a comment. You may be one. Check out our current series going on. You can find a link to Sarge's channel and other stuff in the description below. You're on my channel, so you can just go to videos and see what's going on. Thank you to our patrons, for supporting us in what we do, especially Wasteland Legends, Sven, and David Hoover. You can be in the credits too if you become a patron, so that's something to consider. But regardless, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks in the next PIPCAST 3000, every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Bye!